Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? And welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Thanks for checking out the podcast, and happy holidays to you. Well, Who That Nation, it is another game and another task for the New Orleans Saints. This time, they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Pittsburgh Steelers team that is fighting for their playoff life. You have two teams right here that really need to win this game. On one hand, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I mentioned, they're fighting for their playoff lives. They cannot afford to lose any games, especially since the Baltimore Ravens have gotten red hot since Joe Flacco got hurt and they input Lamar Jackson into the starting rotation as the starting quarterback of the team. And then you have the New Orleans Saints, who with this win could clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs. That's right. The New Orleans Saints will not have to play any more games on the road. And if they manage to get two postseason wins, the divisional round and the NFC Championship game, the Saints will be playing in Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta, Georgia, in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And wouldn't that be poetic justice for each and every one of us in the Who Dat Nation? But this will not be an easy game for the Saints. The Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to go out without a fight. I'm pretty sure they've been hearing about the dome field advantage all week, about how it's so hard to play in the Superdome. And, of course, we know about Cam Jordan comments towards their quarterback, Big Ben Roethlisberger, saying that he doesn't consider him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But the question on everybody's mind is, who is going to win this game? I'm just going to say it like this, okay? Everything about this game to me is saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to win this game. It's hard for me to say this, but I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win this game. That's what I'd be saying if I didn't believe in the New Orleans Saints. But I do believe in the New Orleans Saints because I feel like this right now is a playoff game. And what I mean by this is a game where you have one team that is desperate. And I'll tell you this, it doesn't get any more desperate than playing in the postseason, knowing that your playoff life is on the line each and every week. If you lose, you go home. Point blank, period. There is no tomorrow. And that's the way the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing right now. If the Saints can knock off the Pittsburgh Steelers, this will show me a lot about the Saints because this game is going to have a postseason feel. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers just so happen to find a way to get to the playoffs, the Saints could be meeting up with the Steelers again in the Super Bowl. So you know you got to bring your A game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have some great offensive weapons. Of course, we know about Antonio Brown. We know about Juju Smith-Schuster, who already said that he is going to be playing in this game. I know during the week they said that he had an injury that he was dealing with. And, of course, we have James Conner, who's been out for the last couple of weeks. He's had an injury, but they input Jalen Samuels, and he had an incredible game against the New England Patriots. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, they're like a box of chocolates, right? You never know what you're going to get. One week they'll go out there and they'll beat the Patriots, and the next thing you know, they're losing to the to the Oakland Raiders. I mean, seriously, man, you don't know what you're going to get. 1 minute you see Big Ben throwing a 50-yard bomb down the field at AB. The next thing you know, he's throwing a 50-yard bomb, and it's going the other way. It's an interception. Or it's a fumble. I mean, honestly, man, you don't know what you're going to get out of this Pittsburgh Steelers team. But I feel like they're a team that plays inspired. And it doesn't get more inspirational than going into a heated environment like the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and knocking off the New Orleans Saints. But that's not going to happen. Now, I'm not going to go out here and say that this is going to be a high-scoring game because both teams have respectable offenses. No, I'm not. This is not going to be a high-scoring game to me. This game is not going to be in the 30s. I've seen someone predict the score of 34-31. Not happening. I've seen somebody predict the score talking about 41-45. Not happening. The New Orleans Saints are a different team right now. Will they play better in the Superdome? Absolutely. Will their offense get back on track? Yes, it will. But will they score in the 30s and the 40s? Absolutely not. Okay, you have TJ Watt on the defensive side of the football, and you have Joe Hayden, one of the most well-respected corners in the NFL, going up against Michael Thomas. You can put him man-to-man against Michael Thomas, and, he'll do a respectable job. I don't know if he'll be able to stop Michael Thomas, but they have some good players on the defensive side of the football, even though they're not the steel curtain of old. I still feel like they have what it takes to get the job done. And it's going to be a dogfight. I feel like the Saints are going to win this game, but they're going to win this game by a score of 28-23. The New Orleans Saints are going to win this game 28-23. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers may be leading this game throughout, but the Saints are going to rally maybe like in the fourth quarter somewhere, and they're going to get that victory. And it's all going to be because of the hometown fans, man. The Superdome, that's the reason why. Because the Superdome is going to be lit. People are going to be excited. People are going to be drinking. People are going to be yelling and shouting to the top of their lungs in support of the New Orleans Saints. And when you're in that type of environment, if you are a away team, that is very, very hard. When the Superdome really starts rocking, it is hard for offense to conduct themselves on the field. It's hard. It is hard. And I think that the Saints fans are going to play a huge role in this game. And I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And, of course, we know in Week 17, they can rest. They can rest players like Drew Brees and Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, and maybe Teron Armstead can get a little bit more rest. I mean, I think he's going to play in this game, which I feel like is important, because if they manage to win this game, then he can sit out for maybe like 3 weeks, and he can heal up a little bit more. You're not going to see Ted get in this game, even though he came back this week to practice for the first time. He's not going to play, but I do think that he is going to be ready for the postseason. But that's my prediction. I'd like to know what you all think about the New Orleans Saints taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Comment down below, like and share this video. Subscribe to the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast, and follow the State of the Saints podcast on Twitter at SOTS Podcast 8. That's SOTS Podcast 8. Till next time, all I have to say is, who dat?